with a beef against the federal government. D.C. was full of them. Anti-gay marriage protesters on Capitol Hill, anti-abortion advocates across from the White House, free speech activists in front of the Supreme Court, angry veterans demanding better and more timely medical attention. He showed the guy his Virginia license, and the guard frowned. "Sir, this is a federal building. Do you have an appointment?" he asked, placing his right hand on the holstered pistol at his side. "Yeah, but I don't know who with. Maybe an attorney." "Which agency?" "Excuse me?" "Sir, this is a government facility. Entry requires a government ID or prior appointment. If you don't have one of them, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." Crocker reached into his wallet and produced the laminated card that identified him as a Tier 1 U.S. military operator with a TS, top secret, SCI, sensitive compartmented information, Rainbow 9 clearance. The guard nodded. "That's better, sir. Thank you." He felt unprepared as the guard scanned a list attached to a clipboard. What the hell am I going to say? That I didn't know I was breaking the law when I broke into that lady's window? "Sir, proceed to level B, park anywhere you find an empty space, then take elevator 1 to the 4th floor." "Thanks." He descended into the dark garage, still not knowing what this meeting was about. Thinking ahead to the pre-trial hearing, he decided he couldn't trust his attorney, a sharply dressed recent grad from Georgetown Law School. Nice kid, but maybe a tad too sure of himself. He had tried to convince Crocker that the charges would be reduced to a misdemeanor and he would escape with a slap on the wrist. What if he was wrong? Overconfidence didn't sit too well with Crocker. Besides, the circumstances of the case were so absurd he shouldn't have been charged in the first place. Sure, it had been wrong to break into a woman's apartment, but how could the court ignore the fact that she had been ripping off his 76-year-old father and that Crocker had caught her smoking crystal meth with a Fairfax County cop, the same one who had filed the charges? His blood pressure rising, he stood near the back wall of the elevator, staring at the perfectly pressed uniforms of the two officers, one female, one male and Hispanic, standing in front of him whispering to each other about the long-term value of investment property on the Eastern Shore. He had a vacation house there as well, which he had used so many times with Holly. It had been their refuge. She had been his safe place, his harbor in the storm. People, even military officials with desk jobs like the two riding with him now, didn't understand the perils the United States faced around the globe, and the stakes. He didn't blame them. How could they be expected to if they hadn't seen the horror, violence, and human misery he had? How could they appreciate the razor-thin line between civilization and chaos, good and evil, free society and forced obedience that men like him fought to protect? Dr. Petrovian had warned him not to let his mind spin wildly like this. He tried to catch himself as he exited the elevator and stepped into the over-air-conditioned lobby. But how could you trust a justice system in which pampered superstars like O.J. Simpson got away with murder and poor people were shot for driving with a broken brake light, a story he'd just seen reported on CNN? The male clerk behind the desk, dressed in civvies, examined his ID again, then asked him to sign a ledger and follow him down a gray hallway lined with photos of former secretaries of the Treasury. Where the hell am I? No signs on the walls or plaques beside the doors. The clerk punched a code into a keypad at the end of the hall, pushed open a wooden door, and stepped aside. Crocker's eyes darted, registering as much as he could see in the dark room in 2 or 3 seconds. A dozen men and women seated around a rectangular table, all relatively young, all in civilian clothes, facing the wall to Crocker's right where something was projected onto a screen. Another symptom of PTSD was hyper-awareness. His mind raced as he blinked twice and tried to focus on the image, a blow-up of something that resembled a president's face. Benjamin Franklin. I'm in the wrong place. He was about to excuse himself.